debates going on at one time.
Okay, well that's fine. The floor is yours. You have creative reign to take.
Just tell me what you want to hear from me.
No. I can't tell you what I want to hear. I would like to hear your unadulterated, original, authentic, organic, etc. positions on the matters that are being discussed. You may swear, you may use profanity, but please go
You
ahead.
may or may not talk.
Yeah, go on then. So yeah, just take it away, my son. Oh, nothing to say, huh?
No.
Sorry, I know it sounds.
Okay. No, you're fine, dude. I think it's funny. Like it's genuinely funny. I don't care. it's like, but I'll say this. Oh yeah, let's go whole community, baby.
Okay, so for everyone joining the call, Frozen has the floor. So everyone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Everyone, shut the fuck up. My turn.
Okay, go on then.
Dude, it's just. Yeah. Okay. Like the whole like Twitlonger thing. It's like yeah. Please out the people who are bad, but like the whole point that I was mentioning was that not everyone has to show you empathy. Not everyone has to be on your side. Not everyone has to do this. It's like, yeah, if you want to like meme them on Twitter back, go ahead. It's not like me personally, I'm not going to get offended if I get ratioed. Like I think it's funny. It makes more activity for the community. Like it really does. So it's like, okay, I'm fine with it.
Could I ask, could you clarify your position regarding all of the leaked PMs between Jeff and Lina? What's your position on the morality of what was in that paste bin? And that's
the initial paste bin is all over the place, and it doesn't have correct logs whatsoever. And if you really want to ask anyone, you can ask Jeff about all this.
Okay, can I just say one thing?
Yes, you may.
So the reason I got banned is not even the 2017 stuff, where you could argue that the messages were flirty and shit. I got banned for the content stories from 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Where we were like good friends, like we were just talking as friends, and we were talking about like the Luna case and shit. And in all those single quotes, I did not ask for her like for any kind of pictures a single time, and I got banned for that. They are arguing it was sexual harassment, and I personally still disagree with that.
Wait, so
however, Joss,
yeah,
I can understand if people consider 2017 parts unmoral or whatever. Like, of course, like those quotes, like they are fucking cringe and shit. But as you know, the fact is there was never a relationship, and we never like shared any explicit text, right?
Yeah.
And when she started dating Luna, I left the chat, like AL server, and I blocked her. And she was actually following me into the Infinity chat. I never mentioned that in the paste bin or anything, but I feel like it's an important part of the story because it shows that like nothing back there actually mattered to her because she kept following me. And then I also left Infinity chat right after. And I feel like that part of the story actually makes me think that like she like the 2017 part, for example, like I feel like it has no impact on anything. And just generally, she doesn't feel offended by all those things. Because another thing to mention is that it was not her that reported that, it was Bobby who made her report it.
Okay.
That's just one thing I wanted to say. And I obviously, like those quotes, as you said, maybe, like, you can consider morally incorrect. But banning me for that, especially, like, making them even ground with, like, the sort of Seals case, or, like, all those people that actually did, like, series of fences where they like post like the dick or some shit. Like I don't know. Like I feel like you can't put it on the same level.
He's got a point.
Well, to be clear, I think that posting your penis to someone underage is definitely a step above merely trying to elicit them or just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
A little bit, man.
But if you look at it, I mean, obviously you don't prosecute based on it's not as bad as this. Like you just decide how bad the thing is, irrespective of other things that may have happened around it. I think that. Surely, I mean, okay. So I know you've kind of admitted that it's morally incorrect, but do you not think that that's at least arguably grounds for like ban-worthy grounds for what happened in 2017? The fact that even though, as you say, there never was a relationship, the fact that you were like entertaining the idea, or it seemed like pursuing her in that way when she was underage. So, for example, saying like I would be better because I live near you and that kind of thing, whatever it was.
Well, I still gotta say that I feel like those quotes are not in the actual accurate context, or they might not be like the interpretation might not be correctly done because you don't really understand what was going on at the time. Pretty much, like as I said in my placements, like we were good friends, and I considered that close friendship something important, especially because she was like going through those tough times that some people may know about, right?
Yeah.
And basically, like when she was talking to Jazz, I felt like she talked less and less to me, which already made me like think, okay, wait, does she actually care about me as a friend at all? And I mean, since I was like such an emotional, or like I don't know, like yeah, call it emotional time for her, I actually had like empathy for her in that situation, and I felt what do you call it? I felt backstabbed, as in she does not care about our close friendship, despite all my efforts during that friendship. The quotes of Luna still prove that, in fact, I was only interested in that friendship, and I was feeling uncomfortable about her age, as you can see by the one quote where Luna was like saying, "Oh, she has a crush on you. Why don't you get together with her?" And I said, "No, she's 15. That's unacceptable." Like that alone should prove that I, in fact, did not want to get into a relationship. And the
Okay, go on.
messages, of course, the messages part, I can see that they are like flirty and shit, but nothing illegal or like morally unacceptable has happened unless you take it out of context on purpose. That's my opinion on it.
Okay, this isn't a like an accusatory question. But
Yeah.
like a critic may say, in
Sure.
what possible context would it be okay to be flirty with a minor, regardless if you had stated in another chat that you were not intending to have a relationship?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying
Okay.
that like we had a very close friendship, and that was just the way that she also talked to me. I'm not saying it was a good thing to do, but like the thing is, we are talking about laws here, and if we go by the law, nothing I did was incorrect. Like you can always argue like this is morally incorrect, that was morally incorrect. You can do
Okay.
that about a lot of cases. Like you could also do that about the Killua case, for example. I'm not saying it was morally correct or incorrect in this situation because I'm talking about my case and not about his case. But if you just compare this case to other cases based on the bans that took place, I
Yeah.
think a ban is not justified, especially because they don't even care about what happened in 2017. And one more thing is, the lounge admins don't want to ban me. MKC does not want to ban me. It's literally only lounge MKboards, sorry. And if you look at MKboards stuff, you know exactly why they are hard siding against me.
Yeah, I mean, I understand mkboards is pretty dumb, like ran by, it's not good, basically.
That's
But
also a reason why IMO MKboards should be disbanded from like the other parts of the community.
okay, you
And I said that prior to this.
yeah, that's fine. You distinguish between the moral and the legal
Yes.
ways of analyzing this. So to be clear, you think that you haven't broken any laws, so it's not ban worthy, but you also think that it's morally grey what you did, and therefore, if people ostracized you in the court of public opinion, they would be perfectly within their rights to do so. They're justified to do so. Is that your position?
For sure. Like I can definitely see that those quotes. Like I even agree that these quotes are fucking cringe. Like even back in 2017, like my friends like Hawk, for example, memed me for it, and that I like of course it's like, as I said, it's a very cringe thing, but if we are judging whether it should be bannable or not, we should at least have some kind of structure inside the community and not just go on a bandwagon because you hate me. Because obviously, it should be fucking obvious. Like, I'm not a likable person in this community, but that still does not justify trying so hard for a ban.
Well, I think that's fair, and obviously, when you're prosecuting someone, personal biases shouldn't come into it. But I think, in a way, you're maybe accidentally laying a bit of a red herring because, yeah, it should be done fairly, but I think you're switching the conversation away from whether your actions actually are, when analyzed independently and fairly, whether they're actually ban-worthy or not. I think instead you're kind of like almost sort of directing the conversation more towards, oh, but look at the people who ban me. It's like, they're not, they're like a shit organization, which they are. But I think in doing so, it obfuscates the conversation about whether or not your stuff actually is ban worthy. Like I think you're just being like, oh, but it was mkboards, like they hate me, people don't like me. And
No, that's not my main argument. I just said that because mkboards is the only part of the entire MK community that actually votes in favor of a ban in this situation. Like
Yeah.
it's not me trying to make this seem more okay or less okay based on their decision. It's just me pointing out that mkboards has specific people on staff that would do anything to get me banned. And if I get banned on mkboards, I will get banned everywhere.
Quelqu'un
Yeah.
m'explique ce qui se passe là, s'il vous plaît?
Okay. So what I would say in return is that that's the wrong way to analyze it. But even if you analyze it on a neutral basis, I still think there's good reason, or argue, some may argue there's good reason for the ban, because although you never, for example, although you never actually entered into a relationship, like a lot of those messages, and I know you're saying they're out of context and stuff, and there's other messages where you said you didn't want to, but well, first of all, consider it this way. Like, okay, so if I messaged a girl, like an underage girl, like, and was
Yes.
and it was flirty, but I kind of said, but I was like, oh no, but this is wrong. But then later on, or in another chat, or like in later conversation with her, I was still being flirty and trying to get her into a relationship. I think that whatever previous motive, like the previous message, becomes void because it shows that. So in other words, if there's evidence of a bad intention and evidence of a good intention, surely like the bad one just has to rule, because it's like, I don't know, it just seems okay. It just seems a bit of a get out jail free card to say, oh, but in this other chat I said I didn't want a relationship, but you still said it in these chats, and that's still incriminatory.
I mean,
what's
the
your
thing
take on that?
is, on the one hand, like, of course, different chats, different meanings. Like, I'm gonna talk in a different way to her as I would talk to someone else back in the day.
Well, I
And
agree you would talk in a different way, but it's not about the tone in which you're talking, it's about the actual intentions which you're stating.
the thing is, like, hey, TG, the thing is,
What the
what do I
fuck
want to
is
say?
talking?
Wait, I need to mute someone. Who is this guy?
Who
I
is
don't
it?
know.
I'll server mute him. Who is it?
C'est bon, ferme-la.
Oh, it's Zenon.
Un mot Zénon.
French people.
Yeah, Zenon,
mais
you can have your time on the stage afterwards.
C'est la fin, c'est la fin, c'est la fin.
I mean,
Allez.
yeah, I'm gonna say like two more things, and then I feel like other people should be allowed to speak as well,
Okay.
personally. But yeah, we are just missing, like, you obviously focus on the pure moral part related to what I texted her in 2017, right? That's your point.
Well, that's what we've discussed so far. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't looked into the, I don't know Luxembourgish laws or whatever, but yeah, so far that's what we talked about.
Okay, so what do you even say here? Like,
Okay, go on. No,
I
go.
don't know. I don't know where to start. That's the thing. Like, there's just so many stuff about this topic.
Here. Well, let me
yeah.
say something really quickly. So obviously you're very kind of honing in on the whole like ethical part of it, Joss. But if we want to like compare and contrast other ethical cases, we have the whole Killua thing. It's like if you look at it, I like I'm 17. Like when it happened, when it was like first brought up, I was 16. I was like, I thought of that in my own way. I was like, how would I feel if I was with a 20-year-old? And I was like, okay, this is gross. And I was like, if we want to like think of it that way, it's like, yeah, okay, that's gross, ban it. But it's like it was all brought to laws in there, and it's like, why is now Jeff's case being kind of like considered ethical instead of the laws
Instead of
it?
legal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Well, my response to that, and you're not going to like it, but the devil's advocate response would be that it doesn't like it's irrelevant how Killer was analyzed. Surely the correct thing to do is to analyze it in both ways, and if Killers was done wrong, then retrospectively we can go back and look at it in the correct way, whatever. But I think just appealing to another arguably faulty like court hearing, quote unquote court hearing, I don't think that justifies. I don't think that says, oh, therefore we should be cutting Jeff some slack by only analyzing the legal one because it's easier for him that way. I think, yeah, it's just a bit of a fallacy to appeal to something else that's also not done correctly. Like, oh, but it was good for Killer, so it wasn't good for Jeff. I mean, I agree that would seem unfair on you, Jeff, and I think if that is, like you should.
I totally respect your opinion. Don't get me wrong.
No, this is good, but like I'm kind of looking at this more than just these two people in general. I'm kind of just looking at this as a community as a whole. Like what we kind of have to set a standard, and the standard was kind of set in place of the legal way of kind of approaching this whole topic. Like it was like in every single place, it was the whole legal way, and that's how, that's why Killer was not banned.
Okay.
Like if like we've already pretty much like taken the route of, hey, we're not going by ethics, we're going by like legal.
Okay,
but if you only go by legal, I mean,
yeah, no, I don't agree with only going by legal. I think that's not the correct way. But
okay,
like,
it's missing out
kind
a
of
part. You're missing a part. Like you might be arguing that I got banned because even though it's legal, but they literally banned me for sexual harassment when in fact, like for the content quotes, when in fact there was not a single bit in those quotes where any sexual harassment took place, which is my main problem or concern about this.
Yeah, it's not even banned because of like predatory behavior or grooming. It's really banned because of sexual harassment. That's also
are
the
from
issue.
2020/2021, where she was 19 first of all, and we were good friends until like 4 days ago, where she just randomly blocked me, no context, and then Bobby forced her to post this pretty much, or like made her come out of this.
Okay. I'll just I just want to say, yeah. First of all, Frozen, I agree with the descriptive claim that you're making, which is that we've set a standard in this community that we judge them by legal terms. So why now is Jeff's being judged in ethical terms? I agree, that's true. We tend to judge by legal terms, but that says nothing about whether or not that's the correct way to do it. I personally would advocate for some sort of a mix of the two, because if you only go by legal terms, there's probably a lot of stuff that, with the right lawyer that's happened in this community, you could argue is not illegal, and therefore the person would receive no bad treatment. I think in this community, like, there has to be some mix of legal and ethical. And so I think, I don't know, it seems like you're saying we should judge it by the legal because your underlying motive may subconsciously be that that's the one that is a bit easier on Jeff. I mean, like, I don't know, it just seems like you're advocating for that because it's convenient for him, and you're saying, but that's the standard we've set, and that may well be the standard we've set, but we may have set the wrong standard all these years, and maybe it's time to look into changing it. I'm not set. It's bad timing for Jeff, and retrospectively we should look at the other stuff as well. But yeah,
I'd say yes if you look at it that way, and like the time period we're in now. But I've been like, that's been my whole stance on it for like months now. So
what your stance has been that it should be a mix of ethical and legal?
Yeah, like I've always thought that.
Okay, so why then in this case, despite your heartfelt
because I know, well, at least not know, but I've looked into more of the text. Like I've seen everything, and there's a lot that was just projected out there, to be taken out of context to see Lina as like the benefactor in this. Define everything. I mean, Jeff could probably paste spin everything.
Okay.
I sent most of these things to Valence. Basically, that was related to the content quotes, which are also the reason why I'm banned. Basically, in the stuff she released, she makes it look like every time I use the word content, it's supposed to be in a sexual way or something. But if you actually look into my DMs, into every single DM that has that word, you will see that the context is completely different every single time, apart from the 2 times where we talked about the Luna/Lyoko cases. So basically, in those quotes, the first time a word was used was just related to a normal picture that she posted on Instagram about a landscape. The second time it was about content in game. And why are those, like, I don't get it. Like, why are those pieces of information not included in her pastebin? And I think the answer is quite obvious because it makes it sound less convincing.
Can you just clarify?
If you want to talk about including or excluding stuff in pastebins,
Yes.
Lina mentioned a completely different case, which was not about her; it was about someone else, where you asked Lunar for a picture of someone who is pretty underage, but you did not include that in your pastebin at all. But how would you see that ethically and legally? Because again, you didn't included.
I-
And you probably know what I'm talking about.
I definitely, yeah, I do then. I definitely
Send
agree
that shit to the cops.
that sharing pictures of other people is wrong. Something important to note though is at that time I did not know that person and I did not even know the age. And obviously sharing a pic, no matter who it is not a good thing to do. And I 100% apologize for doing that. However, I feel like it is not too relevant in this case, but it's rather used for the sake of sounding convincing. Because it in fact has nothing to do with
Y'a
Lina
quelqu'un qui prend des
herself.
notes là ou pas?
I know,
Attendez
but
qu'on
it's
en ait
still...
une chose avec le no.
I'm muting them. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Talk.
Can you clarify when you talk about this content? So
Yeah.
pictures that it seemed like in the PMs you were trying to see, was this of an underage Lina, or was this of a then 19-year-old Lina?
I was 19-year-old Lina.
Okay.
Everything related to the content story is 19-year-old Lina.
Is
When
that
we were normal
after?
friends.
Okay. I mean, I guess. Well, actually, is that not? Wait. So, is that not still?
Oh my god, what's happening here?
Dude, can you mute these people?
Yeah, no, I'm trying. There's a lot of people.
Let's yell
Oh my god,
You're
dude.
so hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know like laws and shit. I'm not a lawyer, but like, just to clarify again, the content, were you asking her directly from it, or were you trying to obtain it through a third party, i.e. Luna, or some other?
Who are you talking? What are you talking about right now?
You know, when you were saying like content pictures or what? Like
That picture. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but I'm pretty sure I was the one to send the picture after Luna asked me for it. It was not me asking for it.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay.
Can someone confirm that?
Can we get a fact
Someone
checker?
look at
Oh wait, I was not listening. I was trying to fucking mute stuff.
Okay, we're just gonna move over to our...
in her pastebin, Lina included a part where I was talking to Luna and I sent him a real life picture of another girl. And if I remember correctly, Luna was the one to ask me for it, and I sent it to him. Is that correct? It was not me asking for the picture.
Okay, we're going to move over to our fact checker Taz, who's been having a look at the.
And furthermore, I did not the age of that person at that time.
Sorry.
Someone stream and call. Like what we're going over.
Okay.
Okay, so after that fact check, I want to ask another question, but I'll wait until you actually have it, Taz.
Yeah, I'm just trolling. It's not Taz.
Okay, I think I can get it. Okay, so you sent the picture to Lunar. I asked.
Yeah.
Apparently, that picture was never sent by her to anyone. Meaning, then I'll just ask you, how did you get that picture?
If I remember correctly, I received it from Trix. I'm not 100% sure. It was someone from BA. That's all I know. I don't know in what context I received it. Yeah, I like this is so far ago, dude. Like I don't know every single detail. But I was not the one to actually initially get that picture. Like I've seen that picture from like through another party, pretty much. And then I resent it to Luna because he was asking me for it, thinking nothing bad about it and not knowing the age of that person.
I'm gonna test something and I'll come back to you if I.
For sure.
Okay. Whilst he's testing that, we're gonna have the halftime break. Okay, no. I would like to ask you the messages in 2017 when you were seeming to want to enter into a relationship with her. I know that you're saying that there's context to that kind of like makes it like exculpatory, I guess, because it's like a close friendship and blah blah blah. But do you not think that, or at least the way I understand it is that, well, certainly for me morally, but probably legally as well, the way that they would like analyze that behavior is they would look at the base action of what actually occurred, and they would see you trying like, or kind of like pursuing, not overtly sexually, but like pursuing a minor basically, or like trying to talk about a relationship with her. And then they would fill in the other pieces, the context, and they might say that the context explains why you would do those things, but it doesn't it doesn't mean it doesn't make them justified. So, for example, if I kill a man and I did it as revenge because it turns out I killed my mum, then I still go to jail for killing the man. But at least my actions are somewhat more like, I don't know what the distinction is exactly, but my actions have justification to them, but that doesn't excuse the morality of the action and probably the legality as well.
Obviously, that's a crazy counterexample, but I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And as I said, I talked to the different staffs, and according to mkboards staff, nothing outside of the content quotes where she was 19 matters to them. Yeah, that's basically all I've been told by them.
I think I personally think that might be a flaw in the way it's assessed then, because if they, and like respectfully, if they gloss over like a lot of like flirty PMs with a minor, I mean, I'm not actually making my ruling on it, but I just mean that if they gloss over those sorts of PMs and they're like, yeah, you wouldn't care about that, it's only the content. I think that's okay. I think you're making a bit of an appeal to authority fallacy, which is where you're saying, well, mkboards are only interested in this bit, so we don't even need to entertain what you're saying about this other bit.
No, I'm definitely not saying that. Like, as I said, like, I can also see if you consider that as like not a moral act by me. Like, I can definitely see that.
Okay.
And, as I said, like, I feel uncomfortable even reading that nowadays.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And on the conversation earlier with Frozen about legality versus morality, God, I mean, you have a stake in this debate now, obviously, but what's your unfiltered, unbiased opinion on how we in the Mario Kart Wii community ought to like analyze certain acts in terms of their bans? Should it be purely legal based, or should it be like a combination of the two? Because like Frozen was saying, he thinks it should be a combination of the two. I think it should be a combination of the two as well. It may or may not be the case that in a purely legal sense, the 2017 stuff wouldn't be ban worthy. But in a moral sense, if we were to have some sort of like ethical court of law as opposed to legal court of law, if that makes any kind of sense, like ethical court of morals, we may rule that to be ban worthy. Well, I mean, what do you think on the way we analyze stuff in this community?
So if you don't mind, like just full whatever, it's that it's more dependent on who's on staff at that point if you want to take it to a more ethical point of view. And I think that's the biggest issue with it all. Like, obviously, if we had a truthful, like, unbiased, like 7 to 9 people that could make a true choice on what is right with this, like, with any situation, then I would agree that it would be both ways. But a big issue, and this is what most of the like lounge admins and stuff have been talking about, like, and this is what happened with Killua. It's like, ethically, yeah, these both are a bit shady, so just take it to Discord. We've been like a lot of these like instances, take it to Discord. Like, I'd prefer if it was like ethics and legally, because I think that's a more accurate way to kind of discussing these problems. And just, if I don't think we can make the correct choice as a community unless it's like everyone gets involved. Like, I don't think it can be subjugated to like 7 to 9 people voting on this, because there is going to be bias, like, no matter what. And that bias, like, that in some instances, like, you're choosing you're making a choice in somebody else's life. And it's like, if you want to take it to like that far, like, that's what's really happening. Like, right now.
Can I say one more thing about the morality part that just came to my mind? So no matter if like the shit is moral or not, like, just look, like, not even including any opinion on that, okay?
Yeah.
We need to take a look at the factor that these quotes, like literally every single quote there, has been out there for 4 years, and they were also sent to launch staff in the past already. So I don't see why, like, of course, like, I see why they are brought up again, because Bobby didn't know about it and he wanted to push her to come forward with it. But how can people call it okay back then and then okay in 2019, but then now it's a big issue? Like, I don't get that part, because it feels more like right now, because of this entire cancel culture, quote unquote, people have like an easier target when it comes to this.
Okay.
Not even looking at it being moral or not, just generally the fact that that stuff has been known for ever since it happened.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I personally didn't know about the 2017 PMs until the day, but like maybe I'm just out of the loop. But
yeah, you're quite out of the loop. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I don't. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
it's
I mean,
fine. It's just it's basically everyone knows.
You were in AL back then.
I was yeah. I guess for me, like I was pretty good friends with Lina. Obviously, I was a year younger than her. I was pretty unknowledgeable with basically anything that was going on because I was just very young and I was vulnerable too. So I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But I obviously didn't have anything happen there. They had a
Yeah, but basically that those quotes were like common knowledge for those people that were around back then in the team, for people that were around me or Lina, and also for people that were on staff positions. And that's literally a fact.
Okay. So two things on that. First of all, I'll just bring up. You mentioned cancel culture briefly, and I think there is a bit of an issue with that generally in the world. But one thing I hate is when it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like if some perfectly reasonable left-wing person is advocating for slightly higher taxes, and then they go like, "Oh, you fucking snowflake, you SJW, this and that." I think the same thing is happening with cancel culture, where yeah, there are some unfair cancels, but as soon as anyone's anyone's actions, past or present, are criticized, people go, "It's just cancel culture, just cancel culture," and I think that really, like, it's just this horrible way of blurring the cases that deserve to be criticized from the cases that don't. So I think just chalking it up to people's cancel culture thing, I think, yeah, like I was saying, it kind of like obfuscates the conversation.
Well, the thing is, why I brought up cancel culture is because it was not actually her who brought it up, and since she was actually admitting to not caring about it when she started talking to me again in 2020. That's just like those two factors just make me think that this is not really coming from her as a person, but more about other people trying to use me as a target because this is obviously like sensible information.
Okay. Do you think that if someone even though Lina maybe being ambivalent towards it, I mean, okay, in like a different case, if someone, I don't know, if someone had had some crime committed against them a few years ago and they've since kind of like forgiven the person, but that person had never actually been brought to justice for the crimes that they'd done.
The thing is, you can't talk about crime because there was no crime in the situation.
Okay, sorry. Well, I'll change.
We're talking about morals.
Yeah. Okay.
Which depends on context and the way you interpret it.
No, okay. So just answer the exact same question, but replace the word crime for wrongdoing or moral dubious acts, those kind of things like that. Like, do you think? I don't know. It seems like it's a bit of a crutch to me to say, well, Lina doesn't care anymore, because regardless if she cares or not, there's still a reasonable conversation to be had about whether the actions are correct or incorrect, and therefore whether they should be punishable on ethical grounds. It seems like it seems like a little bit of red herring to say Lina doesn't even care anymore. Why are we doing this?
I know what you mean. And well, like I'm gonna repeat myself, but as I said, I don't like looking back at these things. I don't think they were like whatever I said back then is something I would not do again. And obviously it happened. I can't change it right now. But my actions after I left AL, which were related to her following me into IN and me leaving IN, should somewhat show that I tried to show that I was trying to distance myself back in 2017 already, or 2018, or whenever she followed me into a new clan.
Okay, so you're showing you're basically trying to show signs of regret, or like that that you acknowledge the wrongness of the messages.
I regret posting it.
Okay.
And I can see people claiming it as morally wrong, but since I was one of the two people involved, and obviously it's gonna be opinion versus opinion, IMO, I did not want a relationship with that person. And I said it to Luna. Of course, you're gonna say again, yeah, it's a different chat, whatever. But I can't say more than what was actually in my mind back then and what is in my mind today.
Okay.
Like today I can maybe back then I wrote those things and then still like quote unquote ran away from her when she was trying to follow me. But nowadays, like all I can say is, okay, if people consider it morally wrong, I accept the opinion. I can see why they think that. I personally still think it's cringe, but at the same time, I still disagree with a ban in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying.
Just because of everything around, like her following me, her being the one to approach me at first, like all those factors just show me that, like, I don't know, like, how do I even explain this?
I mean,
This isn't
I
relevant,
kind of
but how long is your ban? Just it's not relevant. I just want to know.
Okay,
How long is your ban?
well, according to MKboards, it's an indefinite ban, and I can appeal in 6 months. But yeah, that's like being permabanned pretty much.
Right.
Okay.
And MKC said they fully just disagree with that choice, but they feel obligated to follow whatever MKboards does. And if I'm MKboards banned, I'm gonna be lounge banned and MKPS. Oh, yeah, okay, well, fuck MKPS, nobody cares about that stuff. But still.
Okay. When you say about how she was the one that approached you, etc. If you stipulate for a minute, I'm not saying this necessarily is the case, but if you stipulate that what you did was like, if you stipulate that what you did was really wrong.
Wait, no, I'm not saying what I did is okay because she approached me. Like that's definitely not the case.
Okay, so why are you bringing that up then?
Because I feel like there is a bigger part to the story all around. Because she was the one to come at me, obviously. Then she was chasing me when I didn't want to have anything to do with her. And then, as I said, last year we started talking again, and the first thing I did when talking to her is ask her if she ever felt like emotionally, mentally pressured by me, and she admitted that that was not the case. I don't know why her opinion changes from a year ago to today suddenly.
Well, do you not think that, okay, so regardless of the fact that she was wanting to approach you, and regardless of the fact that you later ran or whatever, the mere fact that you were even entertaining the ideas in a chat about some kind of relationship, I don't know, I guess I'm just struggling because it seems like in any context, regardless of other stuff that you did later or before, in any context, those messages would still be wrong. The context may color why you did that, and it may.
The thing is, not in a single message I actually asked her for a relationship.
Well, there was definitely, as you admitted, like flirty stuff and stuff about how I don't know the exact quote, but about how why are you with Jas? I'm on the same continent, except like that kind of stuff. I mean,
I brought up I brought up these logs around a year and a half ago when I'll fully admit it, I wanted revenge on Jeff. I thought I was,
And you about that? Yep.
All this stuff that happened to me a year ago. Y'all know what happened. I brought it all up, and it was brought up to pretty much the same MKV staff. It said these quotes aren't they cannot warrant a ban because it's not directly asking the individual.
Yeah, the difference is you were the one asking for it, and now the claim is that Lina is the one that tries to bring this up.
Well, it wasn't even that either.
In reality, there is evidence that, first of all, right now she even doesn't care about it. So she's not the one that wanted to bring this up. And secondly, there's evidence for who actually brought this up. As in, it didn't actually come from her. So the fucking judgment should still be the same as when Frozen was the one to bring it up.
So something I want to mention as well is that it's the whole not enough information to ban an individual on it. So it's because of how I guess the whole situation happened a year and a half ago. These quotes, because they're not directly asking, you cannot say someone's indirectly asking hey, it might seem like it, but it's not asking, so it can't follow up with it, so you can't ban him over it. Yes, it might look really fucked, but if he's not truly directly asking her, then he's not. You can't you have to give benefit of doubt, and you cannot just say he is, no matter you can't loophole it.
Okay, so your position is that unless there is explicit and overt, I would like a relationship with you, in plain text, then reading into it in any other way isn't the correct stance to take. So, I mean, I know I've stated that in a really, okay.
Yeah.
At least in the moral way, you could argue for that. I agree with that.
It's you can't claim other people's texts to be something in that sense.
Okay.
By the way, the update on this, I actually tried to talk things out with Lina over mkboards DMs over the last 2 days, and in there she admitted again that she did not want to come out with this.
Okay.
Just for the completion of the story.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think. Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay. So if her hand was literally forced by Bobby, then that's probably not great on him because that's kind of coercive. My personal opinion would also be that even if she personally was pretty ambivalent about this stuff, I still think once it has gone out there, we now kind of have an obligation to discuss it. It shouldn't be wiped away merely because she didn't really want it to be talked about. I still think, now that it's in knowledge, you kind of have to talk about it because, I don't know, it's just still a moral issue, regardless of whether she wanted it out there or not. And now, for better or for worse, it is out there. It, I guess, should be discussed. I don't know. I mean, I think we should open the floor to some questions. So
one thing I want to mention as well is as Valence told to me, of course you can have your own opinion. Is it morally justifiable or not? Either way, if it is or not, this is a gray zone. So yeah, just in terms of laws and bannability, is that what bannability? I don't think I deserve to be banned in this situation, even though I admit that the messages are cringe and I would not do that again if it was me. Right?
And that's why I mentioned the whole gray area where it's you have to bring in these cases Discord. We can't make a decision on this. We just can't. The Killua case was brought to Discord, and it came back where it's okay for him.
Okay, just to clarify, when you say we can't make a decision on this, do you mean in a legal or moral sense, and why can we not?
Because there's going to be party bias no matter what. There's no getting around it. We don't have a third party that has absolutely no affiliation aside from Discord that we could go to.
Another thing. I forgot what I wanted to say. Fuck.
Okay. Well,
I'll just go on.
Yeah. Okay. When you say there's no unbiased way to analyze it, therefore we simply cannot. I think that makes for a really pessimistic and bleak future because if we simply can't analyze stuff in this community, and we have to wait for the almighty gods of Discord.
I remember what I wanted to say.
That's kind of is that not kind of a problem in because I mean you may be right, but if we rule we can't analyze this because everyone has their biases, then we just can't make any moral.
No, I agree. But I'd say this is the second case that has had this outcome to it.
Macron démission.
Okay, who was it?
Why is it always the French?
It's always the French. Fucks. Holy shit!
Dude, if you're French, you're not welcome here.
But
I'd say. Can I just say one little thing? Obviously, I do not want to make my case here, the moral behind it, seem less serious. But obviously, first of all, if we argue by morality, the what do you call it? The interpretation of people, whether something is moral or not, will differ completely case by case, anyways. And as I said, I obviously don't really want to get away from this case, my case with her. But if you really care about morals, then why are we not talking about the other cases? For example, Jazz actually dating her, or all the fucking people that were hard simping her or being weird to her in that AL server. I bet. Okay. I wasn't in that server since 2017, but I've heard so many stories of absurd stuff that nobody ever seemed to care about. I don't know how true it is, if it's true, if it's not true, but I feel like if people truly care about morality, they should also go further and analyze the other potential cases that are there.
Okay, I think that. Okay, so in response to that, I think that the morals. So, I care about the morals and the Jazz stuff. That doesn't even need analysis. If he was dating a minor, that's just straight up a ban. For both moral and legal reasons. That shit's just wrong. So when you say we should go and talk about the other things, also, I mean, the reason I'm talking about this is just because it was being discussed.
I think you're not 100% correct there in terms of
Okay.
legal reasons. I don't know if I mentioned that in my pastebin or my tweetlong or whatever, but a lot of times people misuse the term age of consent, as it is actually related to sexual activity between two people.
Okay, well, it's related.
I
I
don't-
mean, it's related to sexual as opposed to just like romantic or flirty. Is what you're saying?
Exactly. I'm not
Uh,
like this is not related to my case, of course, because there was no relationship or any sort of that. But you just said that it would be Jazz's case would be illegal. But is it really?
Okay.
Do we
Well,
know that?
Okay, well, I suppose we don't know for sure, but I'll say, for me, morally, it's wrong enough for me to like shun him and I guess be banned if we were going to be ruling bans based on morals as well. But I kind of think again what you're doing is like you're kind of saying like, well, why are we only talking about my case? Like it's just because it's the one that's happening now. But for sure, if Gas somehow doesn't get banned or isn't somehow shunned, then I'll personally put my efforts towards making that the case.
The reason I'm talking about other cases is because I want to give counterexamples, as it seems like people are just trying to use false interpretation in this case, claiming I 100% wanted to date her or get into a relationship with her, when the quotes could also only be interpreted in that way if you want it to be. That's
Okay.
that's my problem with it. Like, of course, you can say, okay, yeah, he definitely wanted to do that, but another person could maybe see, oh yeah, this is a close friendship. Maybe he cared about the friendship. Maybe he was emotional a bit in that conversation. I don't know, like just in general, I feel like the morality aspect is related to personal bias or what you want to think rather than the facts.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I guess, yeah, personal bias.
I mean,
come into it.
Josh, don't get me wrong. I 100% respect your opinion if you think it was morally incorrect. But at the same time, you need to admit that there could also be another interpretation to that story. And nobody besides me or Lina could truly know what was going on. And
but in a way, you've kind of like painted yourself into a corner there, because if you're saying that there's context which you don't know, which makes it like more acceptable, but I can't tell anyone because only me and Lina understand it, then
I'm not saying that makes the quote more acceptable. I'm just saying that based on what you think, the context of what was actually said could be different, and therefore the moral behind it is also different.
I think that the context being different doesn't make it any more or less morally permissible. I think that the context being different may make it, I guess, more like understandable, like helps us to understand it. But the morality behind the action, because the bottom line is that the messages that were sent were flirty. The morality, however analyzed, would be unchanged.
To you, if the context is flirting rather than caring about a good friendship, remains the same moral. Is that what you want to say?
Sorry, can you clarify that? Just
So what you're trying to say is no matter what the context is, the moral will remain the same. As in, if I actually wanted to get into a relationship, the moral is the same as if I only wanted to care about a friendship, even though both these things could be the interpretation behind the quote.
Okay, no. So what I'm saying is that if it is the case that the messages were sent with the intention of starting a relationship, then the moral will be the same, regardless of whether you're doing it because you're some crazy messed up guy, which I'm not saying is the case, or if you're doing it because you just like cared about her or whatever. So what I guess what I'm saying is like, so I think you're saying that the context. This is really hard to explain. I mean that when you want to enter into a relationship with her, on my interpretation, that's always morally wrong, regardless of whether you had quote unquote good or bad intentions. So in other words, I'm not defining context as what you were actually trying to achieve. I'm defining context as like why you were trying to do it. I think this might be getting too fucking.
I think we're kind of going in circles. Like, all I can just say from my personal point of view is I cared. Shut up. Mute that guy.
What is it? I can't fucking.
No, he's French.
That guy is really funny, actually.
Yeah.
All I can say is from my personal point of view, the quotes, obviously, the moral behind it. You can see it like the way you see it. I can see why you would think that. From my personal point of view, I did not care about anything else besides keeping that close friendship with her. That's all I can say, and we also won't get anywhere else because this will be opinion versus opinion all the time. Like, I think this discussion was very good, Imo, but I feel like right now, like we are definitely going in circles.
Okay. I would say that even though, well, I think that any case of morality is necessarily opinion versus opinion, because I think that there is no such thing as a moral fact. So therefore, anything that we analyze is opinion versus opinion. But you can still analyze certain actions and come to conclusions which are more plausible than other ones. So, for example, if someone kills a guy, you can argue, like, because there's no moral fact that it's always wrong to kill a guy. You can make an argument that it's okay for whatever reason, but it's clearly more plausible that it's morally wrong, even though that's not actually like a fact in the same way that like 1 + 1 is a fact. I think in theory, with your case, a conclusion of that nature could be reached whereby we decide, it's opinion versus opinion, but after careful deliberation and blah blah blah, we still think that the opinion that it's, say, ethically wrong is more plausible than the opinion that it's ethically right. Like, obviously that's way harder to do with your case than a murder because there's a lot more like gray lines and stuff. But I kind of think just saying, it's just opinion versus opinion. So like, what else can we really do? Well, I think in theory what we could do, and I don't know how this is practically possible, but you could set up some kind of like council, like almost like like ethics council, whereby they have certain like rules which are not okay to cross, even though they may not be illegal, and then they analyze certain cases and see how much of the criteria of those rules they fit or don't fit. So, for example, if someone, I don't know, call someone a retard, like that's maybe ethically wrong, I guess, but it's clearly not something that's so bad that it should be ban worthy, and it's clearly more plausible that, like, okay, it's not that bad, then it's a really terrible thing. I think in theory, a court of ethical law, or not ethical law, but a court of ethical morals could analyze your case in that kind of a way. That's the system that I would advocate for in this community. I'd advocate for, if it breaks the law, they're banned, and if not, then it still goes to the ethical court. Obviously, that's hard in practice because you can have people who are dumb and have vested interests, but that's kind of what in a perfect ideal society, that's what I would personally advocate for.
But I definitely agree with that part, that after the law you should look at the moral part. But yeah, as you said, it's like pretty hard to actually form a combined opinion in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've
Because
said
also like you could compare it with this case, for example. Like, obviously there's a lot of people that do agree this is morally incorrect. At the same time, there's about as many people that just claim the opposite, that there's no content behind there's no content behind that quote, which was intended in that morally unacceptable way. Like, it will end up opinion versus opinion. That's just all I can say to it.
Yeah, I mean, I
It
agree.
would be the same if there was a staff that would do it. Like, they would have different opinions, and then it will just be, let's say it's 7 people, and it would be like 4 versus 3.
Okay,
in the end, that's still not the general consensus on what actually happened.
I mean, in my like ideal world, the staff wouldn't be doing opinion versus opinion. The staff would just be doing fact versus fact, because they would already have a predetermined list of things which are ethically acceptable and the person can go on playing, and ethically not acceptable. And then they would just match yours up and see how many of it fits, and then if it's therefore ban worthy. But obviously that's not reality.
So I'll actually just mention this really quickly, because this was me and Chili's goal for the new website, like tackling like a lot of these issues, and like how if they're morally correct or legally correct, like all of that. And that was like one of our goals, and we've actually talked about it quite a bit. And so regarding this whole situation, like I think it's, in theory, it's a good thing for the community and for the future of it, because this will help us decide what we can actually do regarding our choices.
Yeah.
Like right now, like the only other instance of something like this happening was the Killua case. Like it really was the only one. Like every other case has either been, okay, yeah, you're getting banned, you fucked up, you're a creep. Or the other
case was also a reason on why this is a subject right now, because as you could see in the very first paste bin, it was literally noted that since I was one of the people vocal about the Killua case, they thought about digging out the past again. I don't know why they are putting relation with the Killua case when they actually care about this, but that's why I also mentioned that it could be some kind of revenge act rather than actually like caring about what happened, which obviously does not influence whether people think it's morally correct or incorrect.
Yeah. To me, it almost just seems like coincidental that this may have been brought up as like revenge, or like which I mean, kind of like sucks for you, but yeah, I don't really think that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that personally as relevant to how we actually adjudicate what happened.
Either way, I'm happy that we are able to have this conversation right now and see both sides in one big call. I think it's very important.
Okay, so I'm gonna read 1 p.m. from this dude that God, what's his name? The editor guy, SW. Him, yeah. Okay, so he sent me a PM, and this isn't me trying to put you on the spot, but like he wants me to put it to you. He sent me a PM of Lina saying to him, "Can you tell me what is going on?" He says Jeff is defending himself, and Bobby was accused of coercing you into leaking info. And she says Bobby didn't force me to do anything. I'm gonna drop a link to that picture in the general. So basically it's this. Take as long as you need to like form a response, because I don't want to just.
The thing is, like obviously, she could like claim any. She could claim anything she wants right now if she wants me to get banned. Like nobody can prove it. I can only go by what I've been told. So basically, there was this big friend chat that I had with like Barbie, Faisal, and all of those people, and Shackwith, and so on. And that was also where I first talked to my friends about my opinion on this case. And later on, Barbie kicked me from the chat, and he also told to me directly in DM that he was part of the reason why this was brought up, if not the main reason. And in that server that I got kicked from, my friends from like E and also Camelot, I think he's in this call actually, he can confirm that there was actually info that Bobby was the one to come up with this.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's at least what was being said at least. And then there was also like I guess the screenshot that Jeff had as well of Bobby saying it.
Okay, I think. I mean,
so
yeah,
only right now she can definitely claim what she wants right now.
Okay, look at it this way. Look at it this way. Like, yeah, she can claim whatever. She can she could say Bobby did. She could say Bobby didn't. Bobby did have influence nonetheless. That's the way you have to look at it. Bobby brought it up.
Okay. I suppose the critics may respond that he had influence in the sense that I'm not saying this is what happened, but if you get like sexually assaulted and you don't want to go to the police about it, but your friend is like, no, you have to.
Not any different from Hibbert being motivated, quote unquote, to come out with a story about Sork, because he literally said it in his space when he talked to people.
Yeah.
No, my friends when I was talking to my friends or came out about it, they like kind of asked me why.
The thing
is, wait. Let me
were you still friends with Sword of Seals towards the end of that story? Actually, I'm just wondering about your case because I don't actually know all the macros. Were you still a friend of Sword of Seals right before you leaked all the information?
Yeah, we still talked. Like we got each other emojis and we DM'd like casually, but the stuff I all brought up was
but not like something that's considered like a friendship or like a person that you occasionally talk to because he's a good friend of you.
I think we just occasionally talked because I used to pop by his streams, not because we were friends at all.
Okay, because that's the difference between your case and my case once again. Because Lina and I were like actually talking for a year again since like 2020 as like normal friends where we like talk to each other like every week or something. So I don't know, like I feel like the motives are kind of different, as in there was actually a friendship still, and during that friendship she also admitted that everything from the past doesn't actually matter to her.
Okay, I mean, I understand based on that why you may feel like violated in some way, but I guess my response would be kind of what I've already said, is that like that may be true and that kind of sucks for you. It's a bit of a gut punch if you felt that way, but it doesn't affect like how we should actually analyze the case, like in terms of like what actually went down.
I think it does affect the case quite a lot actually.
Why? Because surely, irrespective of whether she was coerced by Bobby to come out with it or not, the actions that you did, or the actions that you took.
Oh,
in
you mean like that? Okay, yeah, okay, never mind,
Yeah.
never mind. I
Okay.
didn't understand what you actually meant.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Alright,
like as I said, like you could still consider the actions immoral, no matter if she actually felt bad about them or not. That's definitely, I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, that's okay. What I was gonna do now is I kind of think like people should. I mean, it's obviously if you want to or not, but if people want to like ask a question or something, I'll just like have to say like maybe that could be productive. If you just can't bother with that, then that's your right.
I think personally that would probably result in a clusterfuck because there's so many people here. But
oh no.
something-
I have a good idea for this. So
I think something we should actually do is have other people discuss about it rather than including just us, because this is not only between you and me. I think it also matters what other people think about this.
yeah, which is kind of why I was advocating like a Q&A type of thing. So what I was gonna say is like
in terms of Q&A from my side, I feel like everything has been said. No matter if you were talking about the quotes directly or if we are talking about like generally like the moral stuff. Like I think everything was said from my side.
Okay, so is your position that you would be unwilling to take questions from the floor, so to speak? I know it sounds sarcastic, but I'm not.
I don't really want to talk to everyone here personally,
Okay.
but
So because what I was gonna advocate was if anyone had like a question or like something they want to say, just PM me like just PM me like I have a question, and then
I mean you can also
unmute.
just PM me and we do it in text form, but I just think like in a big call like that it will just not work.
Okay, well I think if it doesn't work we could abandon, but are you not willing to entertain?
The thing is I also need to go eat like in the next 5 minutes, so I don't think this would be a long conversation. But anyways, like you guys.
Question in the chat, Jeff. What was your incentive of wanting to have a friendship with a 15-year-old in the first place? You even admitted that your messages came
Okay, no. This is where you need to stop because I don't think you know the whole situation.
It doesn't matter if I know the whole situation or not. It's blatant what's happening here.
Can we keep this
if you're 18, 19?
Yeah.
Why would you want to be friends with a 14-year-old in the first place? Like, obviously, there's something dodgy going on.
She was not 14. Like, I don't know. Like, she obviously was 15. But alone the fact that you try to mention 14 makes it seems like you're just trying to target me in this case. However,
I'm not targeting you.
However, the thing is, I was like, this is the entire approach type of thing. Like, my friends and I got into that team at some point, and she was making approaches to me prior to that I hard declined. I never wanted to talk to her. I even thought she was a male alt that wanted attention because she was using the Luxembourg flag in-game, which a lot of people did in the past in order to try to get contact to me because it's so special when you speak the same language as I do. And obviously, we got into that team, and I don't know, like, we were just playing there, we were friends, and as she was going through those tough times, I felt obligated to support her in a way which evolved in a closer friendship. And I don't know how you are trying to argue with morals when it's only a friendship in that case, because that once again just seems like you're targeting me, because then at the same time you could also argue, why my friends were frozen when he's 17, I'm like 20-ish now.
No, you even admitted yourself that the messages came across flirty. Why would you speak like that in the first place if you can even admit that they're coming across like you're flirting with somebody?
I said they are coming across as flirty, but I said I don't.
So you don't believe they are?
Intend that.
You don't believe they come across as flirty?
They come across as flirty, but the intention behind it was not flirting. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeff's made his position clear on that, for better or for worse. That his intentions weren't to flirt, but he understands they could be perceived that way. Obviously, you're free to go and analyze that however you will. I want to just ask one thing.
I have like 2 more minutes, and then I need to.
Okay. Donaldinho asked it. Oh, actually, it's kind of about Frozen. So I'll ask later. Okay, so if anyone else wants to well, I don't know.
If you want to ask me questions, I'll.
Okay, so if anyone wants to ask just one.
I mean, one thing to mention is Frozen saw like I showed Frozen a lot of things with screenshot.
I've had the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyways,
thanks
for the conversation, Ross. I appreciate that you were talking this out with me. I do accept your opinion if you think it's morally incorrect. I can definitely see that opinion. But for my part, I can only say I did not intend a relationship or like anything more than a close friendship. All I can say to the topic. And
I have a question for the group before we wrap up. It's very simple.
I need to be a V anyways. Like I'm not even gonna hear what the group's gonna say for like the next 20 minutes for you.
No, that's fine.
So let me
No,
finish
this
really
is
quick.
non-controversial.
No. Please let me finish.
Real
Please let me finish.
Yeah, go.
So yeah, basically, obviously you guys are talking about the morals of the story. Yeah, it's opinion based. You can think that. I personally don't agree with that interpretation. Factor is, apart from the moral story, the staff is trying to ban me for those quote-unquote content quotes, which in fact had no sexual meaning to them, while she was actually 19. So I don't know. Like I just generally think the staff did not do the right decision in that regard, and I consider myself as innocent in this case. And that's all I want to say to this.
Okay, thank you for your time, Jeff. And
Hey,
good evening.
what's going on?
Yes.
All right, so I got like 20 minutes before I gotta go to work. Someone talk to me about how I'm involved in this.
Sorry, who is this?
You just missed him because he was going to want to talk to you.
Can I ask my question before Bobby? Talks?
Yeah.
So I am an uninformed spectator, and I'm wondering where I should go to see the unadulterated like source material, like the logs where all this stuff went down. Where should I go to find that?
There's a tweet longer on both Lina's on Jeff's page.
I can
like,
DM
reveals
you.
it all.
I can DM you.
Well, this is the question that may benefit the entire group, so I think it'd be better if you explain
Put it in
it.
the general or something.
Okay. I mean, it's on Jeff's Twitter.
Alright, Frozen, I have a question for you. Since
Jeff's,
you're like...
Jeff's Twitter and Lina's Twitter.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
okay, thank you.
Since you heard Jeff say that when Lina was 15 and Jeff and Lina started interacting when she was 15.
Oh, yeah.
How come in 2017, when she was still 15, if I'm right? 15, 16?
She was 15. She turned 15 basically like then. Like she 15.
So if Jeff said in 2017 that he wouldn't like be like that, why is there a message from 2017 where he says, I have feelings for you?
Is there a message that he directly said, I have feelings for you?
I'm pretty sure that's on Lina's Twitter.
If there is, then
Well, I'll post it in general. I'll post it in general.
Me up for debate
But-
if that's the real message.
So, okay, I'm going to give a whole rundown of AL as a whole back then. So I was actually a co-leader of the chat. Like, I was pretty good friends with Lina. I was pretty good friends with the other people. So think of AL as like one of those teams. Like, think of it like in a sense as an Elmer team. Like, Elmer wants all of the good players. And, good players will join. And in this sense, it's just like a lot of good players joined her clan. And over time, like, the most notable thing that happened is her mom died. And I truthfully don't think, I would hope, like, nobody, like, tried to use her and manipulate her into thinking a certain way because of her mom dying. There probably was. Like, I know Jas probably definitely did. You're a fucking creep, And so it's just that whole thing where she was definitely very vulnerable, but she was looking for people to be close to her. I know Jeff wasn't trying to take advantage of her because the logs, like, none of them directly say he wants to get with her. He doesn't tell her to think certain ways or anything. Like, if we really want to look into the gross stuff, I've seen the fucking lunar quotes. Now that's a creep. And
Okay.
I'm not going to, like, bring those up because I don't think they should even see the light of day. But that's, like, the stuff that's a real issue. And
Yeah.
I think that is getting really overshadowed by this. This
Okay.
here is...
Okay, sorry, I know the point you're making, but I just want to say,
No, go ahead.
like, I think probably everyone here would agree that shit that's worse than that, like what Luna did, is just like an insta ban, instant exclusion from the.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What I kind of want to say, like, that leads on from what you're saying, is the thing that Donald Lino PM me, which is basically, are you claiming objectivity in your analysis now? And if so, why are you objective now that you're defending Jeff when it was a subjective, like,
Ma bite est énorme.
venge tactic back then at him? Yeah, Hurricane's good, by the way. But yeah, why should we believe that it's objective now from you when, like, now that he's your friend, when previously you were doing it as revenge? Donald Leo would like me to say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So yeah, what's yours? Yeah. You claiming objectivity now?
So, I was the one who got Lunar banned, and obviously I was seeking to get Jeff banned at the same point. And I guess I'll step in my shoes from back in, early 2020.
Yeah.
I was broken. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like it was a part of my life just gone again. Like I was like, I don't need to get emotional about it, but like I wanted it, and it was just all gone. I wanted revenge, seek revenge. It was like it's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And I mentioned all this stuff before, and I talked to her, and she claimed that like the stuff that was brought up between the DMs with her was not incriminating evidence at all. Like she mentioned that they happened, but she had no like she didn't think he deserved a ban on it at the time either. And that was just me talking to her during that time. But she was full out for Lunar being banned. And that's where I feel kind of shady about it. And it's like, yeah, I look back and it's like me, I want him banned, but now I'm looking at it as a whole and it's like I don't want him banned because I'm looking at, other cases that are similar. Like I will always mention the killer case. This is a very similar case and it has a lot of gray areas like this one. And I just think we can't make the correct choice. Yes, in theory we could make the correct choice on this, but I don't think we have the right to make a choice on this because, in theory, this is someone's livelihood, and if it's something that we cannot make a finite choice on,
yeah, but this is also Lina's livelihood, not just Jeff's.
It's everyone's livelihood, but it's just like.
Qui pour me gober les couilles? Qui pour me gober les couilles?
I agree.
But so just to redirect, but what he's specifically asking is, you presumably admitted that you were just being subjective on account of being vengeful back then. But why now should we believe that now this is a real objective take from you? Because because you could just be being subjective as his friend and you want to unban and that kind of thing. Like he's skeptical of your objectivity.
So I guess yes, so it might come across as me having bias here. So that's what you're asking, basically. And
well, that's what he's asking. Yeah, not me.
So, anyways, I think you can have that view. Obviously, that will not change anyone's. I truthfully, yes, I guess I'll mention recently, I've been trolling on Twitter. I've been doing all this, but I truly want to see the community grow. And I want the right steps to be taken and all of that. And I've kind of been going over a lot of these old cases as well, not really to get involved with them, but I'm going over them to see what the outcomes were, what was actually severe about them. I'm trying to go around on all of this, and in this instance, there's nothing you can have your own opinion on what I say here because it's your choice, but I don't see this as him truly trying to get with her.
Okay, but I think what Don Lino has said, I don't know. I think what Don is saying is, why should we trust that that's your real objective take? You're his friend. It's subjective, just like it was subjective when you were his enemy in 2017.
This is why I mentioned this. I have not argued for him at all in any of the chats. Actually, I mentioned this in all staff and lounge. I said, I'll get the quote. But I was like, I do not want to be a part of this because I am friends with Jeff. I said this to Sharon, who is really close to Lina. And I was like, you shouldn't have any involvement with this, and I shouldn't have any involvement with this. Because we both have very biased opinions because we are close to these individuals in ways. I play with Jeff.
Why have you taken such an open stance on being on Jeff's side in this call then? Because it's quite clear that you believe that what he's done is alright and there's nothing wrong with it and that he shouldn't be banned. But you're saying that you're not biased.
I think I brought it to a moral point too, where I said this should be reported to Discord staff. I have not
morally, in your opinion, do you think this is right? Do you think this is acceptable?
Dude, I think all of this is fucked.
Okay. Why are you?
Why am I? Because there's no finite proof that you can ban him.
Because he plays for his team.
Bro, a year ago.
Shut the fuck up! You are a fucking backstabbing piece of shit. Don't get involved here.
Okay, I would I don't know, just try and
classic Frozen. Classic Frozen.
Classic. How's this classic?
You have always
Everyone just shut the fuck up and just let Joss speak, man. That's fucking difficult.
Okay, as much as everyone's passionate about this, but this is just gonna melt down if people start saying more stuff at once. I think it has to be if you ask if you want to like say something, like you say a sentence and you mute and let him finish out his response, and I'll probe if it's taking too long or whatever. But like this is where the good dialogue stops if it keeps going like this.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
But it's just it's your choice to believe me. I've said this. It's your choice to believe me. You do not have to.
Yeah, but
I'm talking here because I've seen the logs as well, and I think he is being unjustly banned.
Okay.
Because he's being banned for something that's not even the original case. He's being banned for sexual harassment. That is stuff that was it was 2020, 21 stuff where it was two friends talking, and it's being claimed as sexual harassment all of a sudden.
Okay, can I ask you the question that the people, TM, want to hear, which is that do you think that in isolation, the 2017 messages with Jeff and Lina are not legally, but do you think that they are morally wrong? And try not to give an answer like the whole thing's fucked. On those specific messages, do you think that they're morally wrong? And I'm putting you on the spot, so I apologize.
No, that's fine, because I look at it from two angles, because that's, I think, the best way to look at it. And one of them is being like, I was around it all. And I understand the point that Lina was in. And Lina was like, her, dude, a parent dying when you're young is one of the worst things that could ever happen. And she was definitely vulnerable. She was looking for people.
You're speaking like a politician.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think if you put them on their own, it's messed up. But that's like the whole premise behind all of it, is if you put these logs on their own, then of course they're going to be taken in a certain way, whichever they're made to believe that way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a dick, but they kind of didn't really answer the question. So is your position that you can't analyze those messages in isolation?
I don't think you can analyze those messages in isolation, because there's a lot more emotions that are involved.
Okay, let me put it in a slightly broader way. Do you think that Jeff's actions towards Lina in that 2017 period, so not just the messages themselves?
So the entirety of 2017, I think Jeff was just being a friend. And that's just the truth behind it.
Okay, so you think that he wasn't morally wrong in the way he acted towards her in that time period? Just to clarify, would that be the hill that you would die on, so to speak?
The hill.
I mean,
you're
yes, I know you don't
you're
have to
the
die.
second person that said that freaking quote to me this week, and I hate it. But it's
okay. Well, I mean, that's too broad a way to say. Like, you don't have to die on the hill, but for now, your stance is that what he did was morally acceptable because it was merely friendship in your interpretation and not, romanticism or flirting or anything.
I don't think he was trying to be romantic. I think he was truly trying to be just there as a person.
Okay.
Well, you said he has feelings for a 15-year-old.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this now. I can speak of this from my own point of view. I'm young. I've been through a lot of shit. Most of my friends are literally like 22 to 27. Why are these people? Okay, dude, come on.
This just isn't about you. It's about Lina and Jeff.
If it's but it's the same premise. If you're talking about age and age gaps, it's the same premise. How is that not the same premise?
Well,
How is not?
Have you had one of your 21-year-olds mate confess that they have feelings for you? Like, have you? Because there's literally a screenshot proof of Jeff saying, why are you being like this? I have feelings. I have such big feelings for you. Like, have you had any of your mates say that to you? Because it's a I don't know how you can compare your experiences to Lina's when they're obviously completely different. Nobody's gonna move to you like that. But I mean, as you can see by Jeff, he's clearly interested in Lina by the messages. Like,
I think I don't want to put the fire out, but I think Frozen has overtly stated his current position on the morality and Jeff's intentions 2017, and I kind of think people can then draw their own conclusions based on if they think that's misguided or not. I kind of think
I've said that you can have your own interpretation of what I've said. I'm not trying to make you think a certain way. This is my interpretation on it.
Yeah, I
don't
know. I kind of think people, I mean, you've stated your position on that, and people can decide whether they think it's right or not. I don't personally think it's going to be fruitful, like throwing it back at him and making him justify his position more, because he's kind of already tried to do that for a while. And I kind of think, like we know that's his position now. Make of it what you will.
True.
But yeah. Okay, I got a message from Faisal saying, would Bobby be allowed to speak as his name has been brought up? I personally think that's fair. If you want to say something, Bobby, you may now speak.
No, I just wanted to know. I got told to join, because apparently I've been what's the word? I don't fucking know. But I've been.
Okay, the reason why I told you to join was because you mentioned something about.
Wait, is Jeff banned?
So
true.
So
what's up?
I mentioned it because I wanted you to just talk, because you said just DM, and it's like Jeff wants you to talk to him. I think that's pretty obvious.
Okay.
He wants your stance.
Yeah, but if you got anything to say now, you can say.
Yeah, you go. If you have any other questions, that was the whole reason I told you to join, because I didn't think he'd be going either. Like he all of a sudden, had to go get dinner. I didn't know.
But yeah.
No, but so apparently someone said that what was it? What was the word?
Coerced.
Coerced. Yes. I had to look that word up. So
okay. I was the first one. I'll just say I was the first one to use the word coerce, and that's not because of my opinion. I was just describing what Jeff was seeming to claim that it was. Jeff didn't claim the word coercion specifically himself. That just was the word that came to me for it. So
okay.
But, you know.
I'd have to agree with you, Frenchman. Okay, so
you can't agree with the Frenchman.
As for coercion, I guess it depends on definition, because what I looked up and what I saw was that the dictionary textbook definition that I saw was threatened.
Yeah,
I guess threatened. I'm gonna be honest. I can provide y'all some logs, and Lina can also attest.
Oh, j'ai pris le pingouin.
Push it. I didn't threaten her with nothing. Shut up, bitch.
I don't believe you threatened her in any way, but like from a, I guess my point of view and what I've seen, is that you definitely had influence on her making like decisions with all of this. Like,
how do you know that?
Because I mean, Jeff literally told me that you told her to do all this, but that's obviously him telling me.
Okay, so I didn't.
Can I just say something really quick there? Because I do remember when we were talking about this whole situation, Bobby, that you did say that you had a pretty big influence in what was being like.
I never said that. No, I never said that. But
coming forward, that's at least what I remember you saying.
No, you're wrong. But anyway,
okay.
So I didn't say nothing like that, but I did tell Lina. So I was I heard this from somebody else, right? I was on a call with somebody, and I heard about the whole situation. And at first I didn't believe it, because I mean, how was I supposed to fucking believe it? So I didn't believe it at the time, but I went to go see if that was a real thing. I went to go and What's up with these French people today? Y'all being really stupid today.
They are wild, man.
Y'all being real dumb today.
I'm back.
No,
I was listening, but now I'm able to talk again. If you want to talk about anything, just one thing, Bobby. Like I do accept your opinion on this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I've told this to Joss. Like, obviously, I respect any opinion related to this being morally unacceptable, for example, based on what you think is the truth. I can't say more than what I truly felt in that moment and what my opinion is on this. And
I understand,
just one thing that's a bit sad to me is the fact that you just try to deny what Camelot said, even though there's two different sources that can actually confirm you saying that, which is Hawk and Camelot, who are both in that call with you. And it kind of makes me doubt. Like, I just don't know what's going on, dude. Like,
I was also in that call. I didn't hear it. I was in that call with Hawk and Cam and Bobby.
Let me say this: you guys are both friends.
Stop.
So
So what I want to say right now is this, right? I never said that I had an influence or an impact on what happened. In fact, I can provide logs, right? And I'm very open about it. I'm very
No,
okay
but
with
we are
doing that.
talking about the call you had.
Yeah,
not about
yeah.
the chat
No,
logs.
but in the call, but in the call, I never said that. I never specifically said that I had a
So
big influence on it. I never said that. What I said was that I was the person who brought it back, right?
So you're telling me that Cam and Hawk both do a fake claim about you saying that when they didn't even talk to each other, or like
I'm not saying it's no fake.
Even though
I'm
they
not saying,
both talked to me
yeah.
without having a relation, like they didn't. Cam and Hawk, like, did you guys talk about this between you guys? Was there something, Cam?
No, I only asked Hawk for Overwatch.
I like Cam came forward to me explaining what was said in that call, because like obviously like these accusations like they are obviously like this entire subject, it's so fucking retarded, and that's not even my biggest worry. My biggest worry was actually the fact that you guys turned your back on me, and I was just confused on what was going on. And
So
I
no,
do
but
agree
again,
that if you want to not hang out with me because you think that shit is weird, but I don't agree if I hear from two different parties that are unrelated telling me that you even said in that call that you had a big impact in some way when you are just trying to deny it right now and get backed up by friends.
Jeff, what about the other? There were like 6 other people on that call though, Jeff. It was me, Akane, Bobby, Faisal, like there's so many other people that you can go. Yeah.
Hold on, wait.
Why don't we go to other people who can also confirm if you believe?
Wait,
Yeah.
pause. Time out. Shockwave, we're talking about two different things. Okay.
This is not my opinion, Shockwave. This is what I have been told. Like I'm not saying it is true.
We're talking two separate calls, Shockwave.
Did you have one before?
Yeah, we did. So we would win the night of when it happened, when I was at work, and when I was driving home from work.
That was when you got into call with me. That's that call,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's not the same call we are talking about. I'm talking about the call.
Yeah, he's talking about the one that I am talking about, Bobby. The one
he's talking
where
about
we made the new channel in Stream and Yell for us to join that only certain people could join. And in there was me, you, Akane, Faisal, Hawk, Camelot, and then Jazz and Impact. They were muted, and then Crash joined later.
I don't know if Jazz ever joined.
I don't know.
I've talked to Jazz and he was not in that call.
Do we have another account from that in here? Is Faisal in this call? I don't know if Faisal's here or
Faisal's active right now.
Obviously, we can't prove what was said back then. I can only go about what my sources have told me. You guys can do your claims. Like obviously, like, I don't know. Like there's no solution to that part of the story. I just think it's like knowing that both Hawk and Cam would tell me that. Which I don't know, like why would they lie to me about that? Especially Hawk, who I consider like a pretty neutral person in this case. I don't know, like it's just weird to me that now suddenly there's two sides of the story or denial in you saying that you actually had a big impact on this. Because you even told me in DMs that you had impact on it.
I have shot.
Okay, so
I think you did.
the thing with having an impact, I think that went a different way than what you're seeing it as, because what I told Lina specifically in DMs is that I am not going to push her forward nor backward for the story. I am going to be here and I'll support her through whatever.
One
and I said that multiple times.
Were you here ever since the beginning of this conversation?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually talked to Lina through mkboards DMs.
Yeah.
And in those mkboards DMs, she told me she did not even want to make this public. It was other people that wanted her to make it public.
And I was not one of the and I was not one of the people who told her specifically to go public. And I didn't I didn't push her to do anything like that. And I can show you the DM that we had with each other, because originally what I had brought to her, I told her that if it was bothering her or if that was something if that was something she wanted to do, then she can bring it to staff. It's not my story to tell. I'm not the victim here, and I'm not. I was not involved with this.
That's another part of it. Like
I was just telling her. I was telling her.
I attempted to have like any kind of meaningful conversation with her,
Yeah.
Because she did admit that she wanted to talk it out, because obviously like, the subject can't go on forever. Like we just need to get this out of the way, because it starts to get like very annoying. Like why are we just talking about this permanently? And like the first time she just told me, oh yeah, I don't care anyways, I'm gonna delete my tweet longer, and then she deleted the first one. And the second time was the MKboards conversation, where she basically denied that she wanted to make it public / cared about it, which she also did in 2020 when we started talking again. The first thing, I said this earlier again, sorry for repeating it for those that are here for a long time. The first thing I said, like I was talking to her about when we first talked again, is me asking her if she ever felt emotionally or mentally instabilized by what I've been telling her, because there has been claims in the room like this one, or like basically the same claims based on the same screenshots in the past. So I actually wanted to know from her as a person if she actually does care a lot about this, if this was a problem for her. And like back then she also said it didn't matter to her, which does not impact you guys thinking it's morally correct, incorrect, whatever, because that's all like based on opinion anyways. And my opinion is that I didn't intend a relationship, and the word feelings was used in regards to our close friendship that I really cared about, because I cared about supporting her through the tough times she was in. And I also felt kind of scared for her in a way, because I knew Luna was weird based on the DMs that I also leaked. And that's also the reason why I cared about this close friendship. And her not like going far away from me. But none of that was in a relation or like love type of way. This was all John Cena as well, nice. Yeah, anyways, like I don't know, Bobby, like all I can tell you or the other people and also tell to her is that in fact, I did not intend any of that. But also what I said in my placement, if she did feel creeped out now after all by that, I feel sorry. Like I'm sorry. Like you know me for so long, Bobby. Like you know exactly that I'm not a person to hold grudges over a long time. Like you literally know that. And this is the same case, which is also why I allowed her to talk to me again in 2020. I don't even know how that was initiated. I'm pretty sure she followed me and I just followed back. And then we just talked in DMs again, where she mentioned the Luna case and so on and so on.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you.
One last thing, Bobby.
All right, hold on, wait. But, like, okay, anything that you gotta say personally to me, you can DM me, and that's fine. Okay?
No. I feel like it's relevant to the conversation.
Okay, good.
1 second.
About
this entire part where you remove me from the chat, where I unfriend you, where other people turn their back at me, like I can definitely see your motives, but I feel like we could have at least tried to talk it out rather than just jumping to conclusions early, like instantly. That's my opinion, because I don't know, like I feel like this entire situation is way too far-fetched in order to just make a clear judgment on it.
No, yeah, I get it.
Another part is like if we refer to the ban, mkboards did not ban me because of the 2017 stuff. That might be immoral if you look at it in that one perspective, where you consider me trying to initiate a relationship, which I didn't in my opinion. But they banned me because they consider the content, quote unquote, stuff as sexual harassment, even though I debunked every single quote and showed the staff every quote that had the word content in it and showed that it was taken out of context in some way. Either way, as I said, I do respect other opinions. I do respect your opinion. And I also respect your opinion if it changed over the time. But I can't do more than just keep on saying that I didn't intend anything more than a close friendship back then. And the entire content stuff was just a meme to me. And I felt like it also was a meme to her. As like, you talk to Lina, like, you know how she's like typing in chat. Like, it's always like it's hard to have like a very serious conversation with her IMO. And it was always like this between us. Like we just had like those meme related conversations. And as I said, like the word content was not even used in 6 months and she never talked to me about it. So I don't know why it's suddenly a big deal for her, or if it's only put in the room for the sake of better argumentation for her. And yeah, like for the end, like I apologize to her once again if she does care about it. I also apologize to you if you strongly believe that I was actually doing these immoral claims, which I consider as not having done. And yeah, I mean, it's up to you. If
No,
you
and like I
actually
said,
want to talk to me again in a way, or if you gonna hold a grudge against me over stuff that happened 4 years ago and was brought up multiple times while being judged as not enough evidence.
so like I said, personal stuff, like you and I can deal with that and all that. Right now, I wanted to debunk this whole claim of me coercing Lina, because I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't like that.
Okay, wait. Let me just wait. Okay, when I use the word coercive,
right?
That's not strictly threat word because it means use of force or threat. I was just trying, I was just trying.
You're trying to say,
I don't think Charles was actually trying to like target you in a way there.
Bobby was threatening her.
I was just trying to be.
I held it
was
down
just
in
trying
my
to be too smart for my own good. Anyway,
Bobby,
Jeff pédophile.
Okay,
no
I
matter how
have to say,
many-
I have to say though, I have to lead my clan into battle. But also, this dude TKS_Mima asked if there's any. Oh no, wait, that's not him. A different guy asked if there's any like information on like the Killua case that was brought up a bit, and I said to him like, oh, there's like that's beyond the scope of this conversation.
We're not
if
talking
anyone-
about that right now.
I think that this is not the place to talk
No.
about.
So like, okay, I'm not telling you to talk about it. I'm saying if anyone knows of like a resource where like it explains that shit or like a Twitter
I
log
don't
or
know.
something, they can just link it to him. Like I don't mean you, but literally anyone in the call because he just wanted to know what happened in the case.
All of that has been pretty much behind closed doors, and any remnants of that being public information are just like he say, she says, leaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's no real place you can find it. You'll just hear what happened. If you want a quick TLDR, there was a relationship between 16-year-old Skitty and 20-year-old Killua, and ethically, a lot of people didn't like it, but legally, it was okay. And that's just
cool. Yeah, that's the guy Liam or William.
That's the same thing that you could argue about my case, pretty much. Just with the difference that there was a relationship.
Yeah, I was only bringing that up because he just wanted some details, and I said like we can't talk about it on the call because that's too long. Anyway,
I just generally don't want to talk
Good luck,
about it
Josh.
because I don't want to put Killua in the boat here. Like I don't want to talk about it here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Bobby, one more thing.
Wait, I'm gonna go now, but best of luck in your dialogue.
Good luck in your war. What I actually want to say is I don't directly want to accuse you of being like having this pushed forward by her.
Yeah.
I just go by what I have been told by different parties and by knowing my history with Lina herself. That's literally all this conclusion comes to. And I don't know, like I would just like to get another statement from you, if you can actually understand my point of view on this, if you could understand that there are two different sides to this story, and yeah, I just want to know what you're thinking.
Well, okay. Listen, I really,
Yep.
I really got to head out in a little bit, but I did just want to come in here and I did want to say, like I wanted to debunk all that because I don't know if she saw it as me having some big impact or I was holding something to her or holding something against her, because it's like it was more of something for me to know, because I didn't know if it was true. I wanted to know if it was true. I wanted to know, and whether it's not, it's true to some other people. That's like that. Like it's up to you. Okay, I'm not debating that. I don't care. But as for me, right, it came down to I told her very very bluntly, very specifically, multiple times that it was her story. She could do what she wanted to do. She wanted to make it public. She didn't want to make it public. It's nothing to me, because like I didn't partake in it. I didn't know about it. And
yeah, I'm not saying you like pushed her to actually like you didn't hard push her, but you might have motivated her in a way while she like actually didn't seem to care about it at all. Also based on what she said like a year ago, where she admitted to me that she doesn't care about this case or like any of these cases. That's why this entire that's why I also said this entire situation is far-fetched, because like it's always claim versus claim, but at the same time there's like lies in the room, there's evidence in the room, like I don't know, like there's just so much stuff going on, and yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
No,
basically.
I get what you're saying. But yeah, no, that's all I wanted to pop in here and say.
Jeff, I have a really quick question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
No, to Jeff. Someone brought up to me again. I already said it's Frozen, but I wanted to hear your view. You know how you said before you left that because she was 15, you knew it was morally wrong and you wouldn't have anything to do with her like that. Like, why was it in the same year? Yeah, in terms of relationship. Why was it in the same year in 2017? There was a screenshot on Lina's Twitlonger that says you confessed that you had feelings for her in 2017.
Okay, so I understand what you mean with that. Basically, the term feelings, like obviously when I say feelings, it could be meant in different ways. You can have compassion for someone, you can have empathy for someone. The word love was not used in that context. You obviously I could also say I have feelings for Bobby because he's a very good friend of mine, for example. I don't think there's a matter behind that, as I never actually asked her for a relationship in any quotes or anything. And that's like why I'm claiming that the screenshots without the actual context or like knowing what was going on definitely make it show as if there was like some hard emotional flirty stuff going on. But from my point of view again, Hibbert, I never wanted a relationship with her, and I cared about our close friendship, which obviously still had some kind of emotion to it, which is like compassion or like empathy. Like there's more than just love as a feeling that you could use when saying having feelings for someone. You could also argue it was worded quite poorly, because it does sound weird, I agree.
Yeah.
And as I already said, like I can't change the past. I do feel ashamed for the way these messages come over, and I would not repeat it again. And yeah, I don't know, like there's nothing we can change about it. If you want to interpret it in a way where emotions or feelings stands for a relationship, then I don't know, like I can't change your opinion on that. But my personal opinion, or like what I felt back then, was that I only cared about this close friendship, which was also illustrated in my DMs with Luna.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, that's all I wanted to ask, really.
Nice.
Do you have any more questions, Joss? Like in the DM?
Thanks to everyone who's thanks to everyone
I
speaking
have
up.
one question.
I appreciate that we are talking. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
Jeff,
who is this?
do you have me muted, Jeff? Jeff, is that a
Oh, no, I don't. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. So in that Twitlonger, I forget whose it was. It might have been yours, but you mentioned that the J Heart thing that was in reference to Jazz, right?
That's cap.
Oh, no. That's not what I meant. The J Hart thing was initially meant for me, but that was not like, how do you say it? Like she had a crush on me. I rejected her at that point. Lion, the German guy who was close friends with Lina, actually can probably provide a quote of that where she explains that the J it stood for me. But then when I rejected her, she took it out and put it back in when she was together with Jazz. So, first of all, that was all coming from her. I rejected her, and then she put it back in for another person.
Okay, right. So at one point it was about Jazz, right?
It was, yeah, 100%.
So when you were saying to her in this, like you were like, why are you with Jazz? I'm much more available, like talking about like your location, like in the world, right? Like you're just a lot closer to her, right? Why would you compare yourself to someone who's like in a relationship when talking to her about that? Like you were like comparing yourself to Jazz when he was in a relationship with Lina.
The thing is, an important part of this that that only people that are actually part of the story would probably know is that she kept relationships quite secret at first. So for the longest time, nobody even knew that she was with Jazz, as far as I remember. And I was just like convinced that we had this very close friendship, and when she like started like talking less to me, I felt backstabbed in a way, as in like I wasted my time for her to support her through the tough times, and like she's not returning any favor in terms of like talking back to me or like caring about how I'm doing, for example. Like I don't know, like just in general, I understand what you mean, as in us was on like the higher ground in terms of friendship, like a relationship right there, but that was not really the intent of my message. Like I didn't try to like show myself on even ground with Jazz. It was just more me being disappointed about her giving up a big part of our friendship and not even telling me about what's actually going on, when she could have just told me that she was with Jazz at that point. So just generally, like those were just messages that are like obviously like kind of emotional, like they have an emotional background, and yeah, as I said, I felt kind of backstabbed, and that's pretty much it.
Je pisse sur la FGT.
Shut up, bitch.
I hope that made it clear for you, Edison. Unless you want me to talk about something specifically.
No, it's good. We probably have to like stop this call just because. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have talked about this for long enough, but yeah, probably be for the best that this call doesn't go on too long, just because it's kind of
Yeah, I think we said most things anyways, and all that it really comes down to is what MKBoard staff is deciding, because I know, Edison, if you know more about this, but to my knowledge, Lounge did not actually want to ban me, but since you guys are still basing yourself off MKBoards, I would get banned here anyways if MKBoards concludes that I will 100% remain banned, even though I justified myself in many ways and the different ways of interpretation that fall into this case. Okay.
I will say is that Lounge Staff hasn't actually made any decision about you getting banned or whatever.
Well, you're so quiet for me. Say it again?
No, I was just saying that. I was saying that Lounge Staff hasn't made a decision about what to do with this, like with your case. So no one knows. Like we haven't made a decision. So it's like
yeah, I talked to some bosses about it, and basically what I've been told is like Valence agrees with arguing with the... Mute that guy, please.
It's two.
Valence told me that he would argue with the law and he wouldn't vote for a ban. Same with Rob, as he thinks this case is even less severe than the Kilwa case. And Sataglo also seems to have like quite a neutral viewpoint, as in he would argue with the law rather than morals. Can you ban this guy, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like basically I received info from majority of Lounge bosses, like half the Lounge bosses, that they actually think this case would theoretically even be less severe than Kilwa case, because no dating, sexting, whatever ever went on. The MK8 community / MKC, they told me that they don't even know why there's a debate on this, because to them it's quite obvious that nothing has been like absurdly wrong or like legally wrong and stuff. But the thing is, if MKBoards bans me, I will get banned on all the other parts of the communities anyways. So it will come down to them, because they still claim that those content quotes actually show sexual harassment, when I debunked every single one of them, proving that I never even asked for anything, and all we did was talk about like the Luna case or the Lyoko case, where she actually got like hard creeped out by them. Anyways, since you want this call to end soon, as most things were said anyways, I don't know, like if people want to DM me about this, I'm still open for any kind of discussion. If there's people that have contact to Lina, I'm also down to have a discussion with her to clear things up. But in the end, I personally still hard belief that I'm innocent in this case, and that there's only like a way that you could morally argue that those quotes meant something that they didn't mean to me.
On s'en bat les couilles, mon
That's
ref.
all I want to say. Oh oui, mec.